The success of the U.S. Department of Energy's National Clean Fleets Partnership can be seen on the highways and byways of our nation's roads. Fleet partners like PepsiCo's Frito-Lay division, FedEx, Staples, and Coca-Cola are working hard to reduce their reliance on imported oil and improve efficiency by merging alternative fuel technology into their fleets. One truck maker that's had a big hand in developing petroleum-free commercial transportation is Smith Electric Vehicles in Kansas City, Missouri. This sprawling 80,000 square foot factory has been transformed into an EV utopia. The production line includes areas you don't typically see, like battery assembly. But rest assured, workers here are building a world-class product.
The very first day when we hired our first 8 senior leaders for this factory, I said, best truck in the world. Not the best electric truck, best truck in the world. So that was the goal.
They're 26,000-pound short-range delivery trucks.
Mind you, it's not like hybrid. It's 100% electric.
Instant torque. Liquid-cooled electric motors. State-of-the-art, brand-new green technology.
We learn new things every day.
The vehicles speak for themselves.
You're saving money, man. Your gas is ridiculous. Ugh, electric, please.
It's a completely different animal.
We have a huge amount of energy and enthusiasm around this organization. People really want to make an impact.
I've got a 10-year-old son, a 6-year-old daughter. It's awesome because they go to school and they're like, my dad's helping the environment. He's building electric vehicles.
It's fun. It's something you actually jump out of bed to go to. It's like, I'm going to make a difference today.
We practice what we preach. From cardboard boxes to wood pallets, we don't have any industrial waste.
You're actually doing something profound for yourself, your family, the environment.
Plus, it's building a better future for my children. I mean, the less damage I can do, the better.
We have been very fortunate in being able to recruit some very high-quality people.
And we're making something new here, and you have to make it better every day. I mean, it's a team of people that are so committed to that.
We've set ourselves a benchmark of where we need to be.
We got some real intelligent people here.
And it's still a small enough company where, you still know everyone's first name and everyone's job and what they do.
We work side by side together.
The team of 2 follow the truck from beginning to end.
And we can't look at somebody else's model of a truck, We're each teaching each other our own jobs.
A different thing every day.
I feel like I'm a part of history, man. You see that? That's me. Bam.
What we're doing here is really starting to take a lead, not only for America, but for the whole world.
Nobody else is doing this.
Anybody who's had the opportunity to sit in one and ride one, drive one, they have been immediately convinced.
You gotta look at the future. You gotta look, this is where things are going.
Yes, you can make a difference. You can build jobs for people in your local area doing this. You can be better for the economy. You can be better for the environment.
We still have yet to find the exhaust pipe or the gas tank on these things.
I'm amazed every time at how quiet they are. You hear nothing.
No smell to them, definitely looks different, definitely sounds different.
That's one of the best things about being electric. The loudest things on the truck is the fans for the radiator.
It's going to be a lot quieter future, I can say that.
The roar of commerce can be almost deafening. But silence is now the sound of progress. Frito-Lay is one of several well-known American brands delivering its products today in all-electric trucks.
It's a lower cost of fuel usage, better repair and maintenance cost overall. So although it does cost a little more up front, there's a great payback as an organization for us.
On a single 8-hour charge, these trucks, now being used by companies like Staples, AT&T, and Coca-Cola, can go more than 100 miles.
The Smith team has done a phenomenal job of working with our organization. One of our concerns as we get into any partnership is we want to make sure it's strategic, and it's just not somebody trying to sell us a product and leave us. On the technology front, we focused on an EV program with Smith Electric. We've purchased 176 vehicles this past year, and we're putting another 100 units into our fleet.
President Obama came to your plant a few months ago. What was that like having the president show up?
Well, actually, it was, I think for the team, it was an amazing kind of validation from the effort. We put a lot into trying to get this factory up and running, and being able to spend a little bit of time with him and actually have him have the insight to say, this is an area that we can own. I mean, in terms of the production style and our approach, and this product category is something that truly you have to build them here if you're going to sell them here. And for his acknowledgement of that, and then the time he took with actually every employee that we have to acknowledge their efforts was pretty remarkable.
Now, you mentioned building them here. People might not know this, but Smith Electric is an old company. It's an old British company, correct?
Well, that's the amazing part, I think, of the story, is this is a company that's only ever made electric vehicles. I mean, like commercial electric vehicles, and they've been doing it for over 80 years. So it's based in Newcastle in northern England, owned by the Smith family for the better part of those 80 years, and just over the last since 2004 was acquired by a group and really brought more to the forefront in terms of commercial truck building.
Now, we have some smaller electric car companies like Think Automotive or Fisker, Tesla, and they're going up against the big three, or the big five, actually, is what it is now. It's not quite the same market that you're in, but you're definitely going in against some established internal combustion engines. Is it daunting at all?
Well, I mean, certainly there's incumbents, right? This is a market, it's an established market. I would say medium-duty trucks, which is our focus, is somewhat of a niche for everybody. I don't know if anybody really purely focuses on it, because if you think about, the Freightliners and Kenworths and some of the other ones, they really do tend to lean towards big over-the-road trucks. But medium-duty is our focus. Certainly, they have strength, they have size, they've got infrastructure. But from our perspective, this is really discontinuous innovation. It really is technology that we're not competing with the diesel, we're replacing a diesel. And if we put a truck out there, it's not like you can drive it down to the local service center. So the fact that they've got a local service capability in a market already for diesel engines doesn't really give them a competitive advantage over us in that market, because they're not trained to do electric vehicles yet. So for us, certainly, there's somewhat of an overshadow saying, if they really got serious and focused on this niche, how could we compete? But right now, we really do view it as a niche, and we certainly are the leader in it, and feel, we've got a little bit of space to breathe to kind of grow our business.
And it's a little bit different situation with the delivery truck, because you normally have set routes. You know how far you're going to go back and forth each day. People don't take delivery trucks home or to grandma's house on the weekend. So
exactly.
Do you think that this fits a little bit better than the family car when it comes to electric vehicles?
Well, there's no question. I think we have even a responsibility to lead this industry. If you think about electrification as an opportunity in general, certainly the core of the reality behind an electric motor just being more efficient than an IC engine, there's some logic to saying this should happen. But as you've already mentioned, if you think about from a consumer perspective, there are constraints. There's things that would limit your willingness to make that purchase. In our environment, we're focused on what we call depot-based logistics. So it's a company that's committed, has a central warehousing strategy. Again, I don't care how product gets to Kansas City, but once it's in the warehouse, how it gets to that storefront or to the door front is really our business. And in that environment today, whether they buy a gas, a diesel, or an electric, they're going to drive in a circle every day. And it's going to come back to the same place every night, and it's going to park. So for us, it allows a central charge point, because it's going to park the same place. Very fixed duty cycle. Is going to drive in the same distance, so we can put the appropriate amount of energy on it so that we know it will deliver the results. And so, yeah, we are bringing a product into a given sector that will deliver 100% of the performance required.
Who would be your main competition, or do you look at it as that you don't have competition because there's no other electric truck company here in the U.S.?
Well, at this point, we really don't. I mean, our biggest competitor, our biggest challenge of adoption is really education, awareness. I mean, first of all, most people don't know that they can make the choice to buy one today, right? They don't know that we're in production. We've been very focused on how we've launched the product. We went to some what we call launch partners, key individuals, key freight of big fleets that really have a commitment to sustainability corporately and have really helped us kind of bring this product to where it is. But now as we start breaking into that next tier of customer opportunities, first of all is letting them know they can even buy one, right? That's the first piece of awareness. But other than that, there's a perception that they're too expensive. There's a big capital investment, and albeit there's a premium, there's a tremendous business model here and financial opportunity. We just have to spend the time to educate.
Now, I would assume that an electric truck, an electric vehicle, is cheaper to run on the maintenance side than an internal combustion. So you're not only saving money on the gasoline, because electricity is cheaper than gasoline or diesel.
Right.
You're also saving money on the upkeep. There's no oil changes, no oil filters, and the like. So where does this sort of work out where these vehicles cost more than ICs, correct?
Yes.
Where does it sort of work out that you start to get your money back?
Well, clearly for us, I mean, the key is fuel savings is what everybody looks at initially. There's no question about it. So if you think about fuel savings, we're about 80% less on a per mile basis. So if you think about medium duty truck, they get between 6 and 8 miles to the gallon. And so you're going to spend almost 40 cents for every mile you drive just in fuel, and we're going to save about 80% of that. Maintenance to that point, we've got 4 moving parts in our drivetrain. Right? It's an electric motor and it's gear reduction. So there's no transmission to either build or maintain. There's no oil changes, as you said. There's no radiator for fluent. There's no fuel system. There's no exhaust system. So certainly over time, what tends to drive one of these trucks off the road at year 8, 9, or 10 is that the maintenance has actually become more expensive than the fuel. And it just doesn't become economical to keep it out there running. And with an electric motor, you're just not going to see that end-of-life spike. And over the life, there's certainly probably as much maintenance offset as there is fuel in terms of savings opportunity.
Now, people of our age, when we think electric car, I'm sure the first thing that comes to people's mind is a golf cart.
Right.
And you're dealing with truck drivers, delivery guys. Yep. You know, was it hard breaking down the macho barrier to say, just drive this truck? It's, you know, it has great pickup, low maintenance, right. It'll do the job.
Well, I think I've been pretty amazed. I mean, first of all, I think as you engage our truck, the first thing you'll notice is it's a truck, right? A lot of people have a perception that it needs to be small, it's going to be underpowered, it's going to be a golf cart. All of a sudden we pull up in, you know, a Class 6 truck that can carry 16,000 pounds. It's like, wow, this is actually a truck. And then you get in it and it's a truck. Cup holders where it's supposed to be, you know, you've got, you know, it just feels and looks like a truck. And so the fact that it is what it is, and it truly is very similar. I mean, there's a lot of similarity, and now you get into it and you're thinking about it as a driver and you step on the gas and it's pure acceleration and it's quiet and it doesn't vibrate. We haven't had any pushback, because if you think about a truck driver's world in a diesel, right, the minute you key it on, it's vibrating, it's loud, it's noisy. So from a fatigue and just quality of life perspective, this is a lot cooler truck to drive. It's nicer. So, you know, if anything, what we've seen is these trucks have showed up in depots. There's a competition saying who gets it, because clearly it is, you know, it's in vogue right now, but it also is just more enjoyable to drive. It is like a big golf cart. So if you think about the ease of driving, and it's about the same, but yet you have the actual functionality of the truck that you're used to.
People are always asking me, what about electric cars? Well, how about electric trucks? Trucks burn an awful lot of fuel and produce an awful lot of smog, especially in a big city like New York. A truck like this one from Smith Electric Vehicles, which is purely electrically driven, can actually displace a lot of that diesel fuel and a lot of that smog that's being produced. And if you're a business owner looking to save some money on gas and kind of flatten out your cost structure, a vehicle like this could be just the thing you need. When you go visit a customer, what's your pitch for selling them something like this versus a diesel truck that's going to be a lot more familiar and that they're used to dealing with?
Well, I think, you know, the biggest single thing that we do is we really do want to make sure they understand it's a business opportunity, right? Because this is a fraction of the cost to operate. So if you think about electric cost versus like a diesel fuel, this costs about 80% less on a per mile basis to operate. So you've got tremendous operational savings. On top of that, you also get zero emissions. So if you look at corporations like Staples and others that we're working with that have a great sustainability goal, they're worried about being good corporate citizens, but also have to look at the bottom line, which we all do, we're able to give them both with this vehicle.
And can you just run through me real quickly with some of the specifications on a truck like this? What's it cost, and what does it do, and how does that compare as a package to buying a diesel truck?
This typical truck, this is our standard platform, so it comes in 3 different wheelbases. So you can go from a very short wheelbase for a small box up to a very long one for a big bulk truck. A number of different weight categories. So, but we spec them all again to the battery. Like this one right here has 80 kilowatt hours of storage on it and batteries that allow it to go 100 miles. So in that 100-mile range, that's through the workday. And when you come back at night and park, it takes about 8 hours to completely recharge that battery and be ready for the next workday. But again, other than that, it's a normal truck that operates the way a diesel would.
And I assume it requires some sort of a charging point installation back at your fleet yard.
So at the fleet lot, we need a plug, right? It is a 220, so okay. It's more like your dryer at home than it is your a standard 110. But it is a 220 plug, but that's all we need. The actual charging technology is on board with the truck. So I simply run an extension cord, effectively, a pretty big one, but from here to that plug, and that's all I need.
If you've ever rented a truck from U-Haul, you'll be pretty familiar with driving a truck like this. Not so different. Steering wheel, gas, brakes. The only real difference is the gear selector is a lot simpler. Just drive and reverse. There are no options even for any other lower gears because with an electric motor, you don't really need gears. You have full torque from 0 miles an hour. So it just has one speed. And over here, this is for turning on the regenerative braking system. That's the system that recaptures power whenever you brake the truck. And of course, you're going to want that on because that increases the range of the truck a lot by recapturing braking energy to charge the batteries.
Well, what do FedEx, Staples, Coca-Cola, and the United States Postal Service all have in common? They are among the many companies that are investing in eco-friendly electric delivery trucks. Ann Thompson, NBC's chief environmental reporter, has more.
The roar of commerce can be almost deafening. But silence is now the sound of progress. Frito-Lay is one of several well-known American brands delivering its products today in all-electric trucks.
It's a lower cost of fuel usage, better repair and maintenance cost overall. So although it does cost a little more up front, there's a great payback as an organization for us.
The cleaner road begins in this whisper-quiet Kansas City factory, where workers electrify what would be diesel trucks. Smith Electric CEO Brian Hansel says the electric motors are 10 times more efficient than internal combustion engines.
If you look at the base product that we have in here in terms of the electric motor and what actually drives the vehicle, it's a fraction of the weight of a diesel.
35% of Frito-Lay's 17,000 delivery trucks cover less than 100 miles a day, making them ideal for electric power.
You've got a place to have central charging. You've got a very defined work cycle so we can put the right amount of batteries on so they know they're going to get home.
On a single 8-hour charge, these trucks, now being used by companies like Staples, AT&T, and Coca-Cola, can go more than 100 miles.
What you notice driving a truck like this is what there isn't. There's no engine vibration, no gears to shift. There is no noise except for the blinker, and there is no exhaust.
Zero emissions means less pollution. While much of the energy to fuel these vehicles still comes from coal-burning electricity plants, the upside is that putting one of these trucks on the road is equal to taking 10 similarly sized diesel trucks off. A quiet ride sending a loud message on America's roads. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Kansas City.